Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about how I created this bullet journal for my kids. I have two boys. I have Alfie, who's 9, and Sammy, who is 2. And I wanted to come up with a way of keeping myself organised and on top of everything that needs to be done as far as parenting. That is including things like keeping on top of appointments and meetings, and as well as keeping on top of developmental milestones, and working on any areas that they need a little bit of extra help with. I also think this will be a good way for the boys to get involved with creativity, and hopefully they'll be able to learn about organisation and planning for themselves. Here I'm writing down the future log, because each of the months are only going to be created as and when they come along. If there are appointments that are happening in July, for example, but I'm only creating the May spread at the moment, this gives me a place to log any appointments for the July column, ready to look back on when it's time to create the July spreads. Here I'm working on a pocket money log for the year, or for as long as this journal lasts. The aim of the pocket money log is to give the boys somewhere to write down and record all the pocket money that they've earned. They can learn hopefully about budgeting. When they spend some money, you log it down and you see how much is left over. And at the bottom I've given them some space to write down if there's anything particularly that they want to save up for. The aim is that they can learn the value of money by seeing how long it takes them to save up for the chosen toy or whatever it is that they might be saving up for. Okay, now we're on to the weekly spreads. This is the setup for the first week of May. I have set it out because obviously I've got 2 kids, so your layout might be different or will need to be different if you have more than 2 kids. The weekly focus, as you can see what I've written there, so it's just anything that you think you need to work on especially with your children for that week. We've got the main habit tracker, which is just a daily routine written out, but it just gives them a sense of accomplishment when all the ticks are there and you've made sure everything's been done. Also, there's a little section for me there at the bottom, the mum checks, things like have I checked the letters in the bags, have I changed out the bags, things just that I need to do. Obviously you put what you need to put in to match your daily life. And at the very bottom I've put a review of the focus for the week so that we can write down the review of how it's gone, progress made. You might well just carry it on into the following week, but at least you're breaking things up into week by week sections. And directly underneath the habit tracker I've put the chores log. You'll be able to see it more clearly. But that's the chores, so if they tick all the boxes in the chores, they get the pocket money, which goes onto the pocket money spread. Feel free to pause the video here and just see the types of things I've included for everyday tasks that are under the habit tracker. Now I'm moving on to Alfie's side of things for the week. I've saved some pages in between and I'll explain those a little bit later on. The layout is exactly the same in Alfie's side as it is as Sammy's side, but the content will be different. So the weekly focus will be a different focus tailored to Alfie's needs, and the chore will be a different chore. But I've kept the habits on the weekly habit tracker the same for both boys. Okay, this bit might look confusing, but it's actually really quite simple. This layout just means that I can fold the pages in a way where I can see both the boys' habit tracker pages, no matter what day of the week I'm on. You'll see it a little bit more clearly later on, but it is just all down to personal preference. At the top of each day, we've got the day and the date and a little space to write down what the weather is that day. Underneath that, I've written what's happening today as a title, and that's where you write down any appointments or meetings that you have. And because the boys are sharing each of these pages, this is where the colour coding comes in handy. So you can clearly see just by looking at it who's got what, where and when. I also wanted to encourage a book a day, so I've written a space for that to write down what they've read that day. And I wanted to have a little bit of mindfulness where they just write how they feel that day, or they just draw a little smiley face or a sad face in their designated spot. And I've just repeated that on each of the days of the week because that's all we really needed, but obviously include whatever you want to include on yours to fit with your lifestyle. Now for the final flip through to see what it all looks like.